Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khush aamdeed, ji ayanu, goeiemorgen.
Bakhair Agale, Ni Hao, June Shumme, Washmale, Ohio, Gonzaimas, Guten Morgen, Hola, Bonjour, Privyet, Kaifa Hal, Hale Shuma Chatore, Ahlan Wasalan Marhaba, Buna, Mucho, Gracias, Swabia, Balikaraya, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to P3 World. You watching World this morning, alongside the very fantastic, the very energetic, the very amazing Miss Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Ehsan Khan. Hello, Shiza, how are you doing today?
Doing great, thank you so much for asking. I do have a typical answer to this, and every other day
It's
I
all
do
right.
say I'm doing great.
I think that, I'm very used to of it as well. And not just that, I think that this is the best answer as well.
Right.
That I feel great. Do you feel that within as well?
Of course, I mean, well, mostly yes. Today I do, alhamdulillah, of course. I think it has a lot to do with the type of sleep that you get as well,
Yeah.
right? Because the kind of job that we do, it's really early morning because
think it's coming
even
towards me.
before we, sorry?
I thought it was coming towards me.
Yeah, it's gonna. So even, before we actually appear on TV, we have to wake up hours before that, of course, getting ready, makeup, hair, whatnot. So it does require enough amount of sleep and
Yep.
then the right kind of energy to actually, kick off the day with, because we're not just starting our own day,
Yep.
we're actually helping a lot of people out there to start their day and set it in the right direction as well. So did you catch enough sleep?
Well, yeah, that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I was saying that, she's going to kind of catch up on me, and this is what happened. So yesterday I was out for dinner at my sister's place, and then
Okay.
everybody kept on sitting over there, and then late night cups of tea and whatnot. And eventually I ended up getting back home at around 3 in the morning, and then I slept, and then
Oh.
just today, early in the morning, I actually texted in our World This Morning group that, I kind of woke up late, so I'll be running late. And yes, I think I had the benefit of being a male, because I just woke up, quick shower, dress up, and that's it. I was at my workplace. I was late, probably 10 minutes from what I
Yeah.
used to come.
But it
uh,
wasn't technically late though. I mean, you were in time to start
yeah, I
the
was
show,
I was
right?
in time, but when you wake up an hour earlier from what time I woke up today, you're just more fresh as well. And I
Exactly,
think it
that
does
does
happen
happen.
with everybody out there as well. But ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you're on time, you sleep on time. Discipline is very important, and even to
Absolutely.
stay fit. I think Shiza, you've hit the nail on the head as well, where you spoke about how sleep plays a very important role in the kind of performance you're going to give the next day.
Right.
And people like us, we are always worried about that. We always want to be our best version the every next opportunity we are going to get.
True.
So ladies and gentlemen, as much as you're going to keep up with your discipline, I think you will definitely feel that there will be an enhancement in your performances, whatever you're doing. So I
Right.
think that's great as well.
Absolutely, but it's a good thing that you still made it to work. I think a lot of people should
Alhamdulillah.
learn from you. So, Shazad, remember yesterday I actually requested you to share one tip every day
Yeah.
for all the COVID patients out there who are actually going through a hard time as well. So, can we have ours, the one for today? Because
Yes.
I actually have some facts to share after that.
All right, wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, the tip I will be sharing today, I think, is a very important one, and that is that over here in Pakistan, unfortunately, we're not very habitual of going to the doctors and getting ourselves checked up. And our mothers, yes, they do know some olden techniques, or probably those
Totke.
techniques which really do not work as of now if we talk about medical science. But please make sure that, particularly talking about COVID-19, please make sure that you do not take anything. For example, there's been a rumor that Sana Makhi actually helps you recover from COVID-19. I really haven't found any scientific or significant research about it as well. Rather, what I got to know was that a lot of people who've taken Sana Makhi so that they can cure their COVID actually got dehydrated. And yeah,
Oh.
so we do not want that for anybody out there. So please make sure that every time you're about to take any medication or anything in terms of COVID, you really need to ask your doctor in the first place. Don't do
Right.
anything without the advice of the doctor. That's my tip for today.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And because it is, of course, getting cold, viruses, generally speaking, not only the COVID-19 one, but generally speaking, viruses tend to grow faster and, multiply faster when it is cold, of course.
Exactly.
So, well, of course, now that is why we're more vulnerable to contracting it again. Unfortunately, or God forbid, it does happen to someone. You definitely should stick to the expert's advice.
Exactly.
Also, please say a prayer for everyone who's going through it, especially for my my parents because they're having a really hard time with it too.
And
So
my
Shazad-
brother-in-law as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
I really hope they get well soon. So Shazad, you know what? So generally when a virus does get into your cell,
Yeah.
any virus, right?
Yeah.
So it has to change the the structure or the software of the
Yeah,
cell
yeah, it
to
breaks
infect
it.
it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but that is 1%. It changes 1% of the RNA of the original cell.
Yeah.
But the COVID-19 virus, it actually changes 60% of the RNA.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? So if a person
It just takes over.
Right, it does take over. It is going to literally make you so weak in terms of immunity. You cannot breathe. You cannot have any sort of physical activity. So please be safe out there, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I think it's really sort of easy to listen to it. But imagine one cell of yours, which is going 100% of the RNA is you.
Yeah.
But imagine 60% of it is the, of course, virus. I don't know how that is going to, well,
And since
make you survive for
yeah,
so
and
long.
since you've shared a fact, I will share another fact as well. That, ladies and gentlemen, for example, when we talk about influenza or flu,
Yeah.
in medical terms they say it's R2. R2 means that two people will actually get infected by a person who's actually had influenza or flu.
Oh, I didn't know
Now,
that.
when we talk about coronavirus, it is R6. That 6 people are actually going to get affected from the person who's actually contracted the virus in the first place. So I think that for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, we have to look out for each other. We
Absolutely.
just cannot be irresponsible and be like that we're not going to get ourselves tested and it's not corona and it's not COVID. Please don't do that, because just because of your leniency
Negligence.
or negligence towards COVID-19, 6 other people might get affected, and imagine that those 6 can actually multiply it to another 36, ladies and gentlemen, and this is how it's been going on as well. We really need to be careful.
It's insane, Shazad. I mean, if you look at such a small creature creates such a huge havoc, it makes you think about the creator as well. I mean,
Yeah.
and his plans and his work. But ladies and gentlemen, we really don't mean for you to start your day on a, well, panicky note.
Yeah.
But it is sort of our responsibility and duty to impart the kind of information that we have onto you. So today, just to set the tone right, I think it is very important to discuss and, well, share with you the personalities in people which are actually doing a great deal of job for Pakistan, especially, bringing good name to Pakistan,
Yes.
of course. And then, Shazad, while we do come across a lot of philanthropists almost every other week, right, we do
Yep.
get inspired.
Yeah.
But today we're actually going to be talking about people who make a difference in the lives of people who probably need a change or who
Yeah.
probably who feel excluded. You know what I'm talking about? Who do not feel like a part of the society. Well, this is something very interesting, like I already mentioned.
Yeah.
And probably all of us will have a lot to learn from it.
Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, for the last 7 years, we've been talking about it, and we've been saying that we need inclusive education for everybody. May it be people who are physically disabled or physically challenged or mentally challenged as well, or are differently abled, because of the fact that, if we want an inclusive society, we want our children, may it be, I mean, I'm sorry, but I think that this fills up my heart as well, that we really need to see a system where everybody is together. May it be somebody who's wheelchair bound, may it be somebody who's dyslexic, may it be somebody who's just as normal as we can see or we can observe, ladies and gentlemen, because that's the way how we are going to teach respect to all of those children. When obviously, if I'll have a friend of mine
Okay.
in school who's actually wheelchair bound, I will learn to respect him eventually.
Absolutely.
And I think that this is what we want. And God forbid if we see that, right now within our own society, we know that kids really do not know how to behave around people who might be physically differently able, ladies and
Or
gentlemen.
just a little different than I mean,
Exactly,
kids
yeah,
are
exactly.
normally.
And I think that it is the right time, it is the high time to actually share this success story, because this lady who's actually joined us has lived in USA for more than 35 years. She's got a donor agency over there, and she brings that money to Pakistan and makes sure she's got a school facility where everybody's studying together. Not just that, what are the other philanthropic activities she's indulged in and her organization is indulged in is the topic of our conversation today, ladies and gentlemen. So if anybody can take something away or a little bit of inspiration, I think that will be good enough. So ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the daughter of Pakistan and Peshawar. Ladies and gentlemen, she's actually heading the Association for Rehabilitation of Physically Disabled. She is Miss Anjum Anwar. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning. Kya haal de?
ठीक हाल वालेकुम सलाम बिल्कुल ठीक हाल दे
Barobar de?
बरोबर दे
Dera Malana. Thank you very much. It's wonderful to have you. Thank you very much for joining us. And you have dedicated your entire life towards making sure that you're going to bring about a change, and that too positive one, and that too in the lives of people who, at some point do give up on their lives as well. They're like, what is this life? Why God did this to us? Imagine giving them this environment where everybody is equal. May it be them, may it be us, may it be anybody. I think it's such a wonderful thing that only Allah can actually gift you with whatever Allah wishes for. But over here, I think we just need to be thankful. Thank you very much for joining us once again. How did it all start, and where are we right now?
First of all, thank you very much, Shehzad and Shiza, for the opportunity, and of course, PTV World.
pleasure.
And I'm really thankful that I am able to talk to your audience, your viewers,
Yeah.
to talk about my
We have
project
our
and my
audiences in
passion.
46 different countries.
Great,
We're glad,
great. That's
alhamdulillah.
nice to know. So, like I said, I was born and raised in Peshawar, of course, and I love Pakistan. And then I left at a very early age. I went to America, USA, and initially I went to Florida, and then I stayed most of my rest of the time in Texas, Dallas. And just like any other overseas Pakistanis, I just had this passion and a dream to help the people over here.
Yeah.
Because there's so much need. I was one of those blessed people who could come to Pakistan every year. While I was able to shop and meet my family and enjoy weddings, when I was leaving, I had this sorrow and pain in my heart when I used to think about all these underprivileged people, all those beggars on the streets,
Yeah.
all those children, selling little things to make their ends meet. It always hurts so much. And then you always take this pain along with all the happiness, you take this pain with you.
Right.
And I used to think about how can I help? And of course, I feel like that we take Pakistanis take Pakistanis for granted, but when you are away
Abroad.
from Pakistan,
Yeah.
then you're always, my heart is always roaming around in the streets of my country and
Right.
and feeling for people. Whenever there's a catastrophe, you must have realized that all those overseas Pakistanis, they just
Always.
become so active and they raise funds. And I, as a Pakistan Society of North Texas president, raised funds multiple times to help Pakistanis, disaster issues, and even during Corona we did that. So that was the passion to what we can do for Pakistan,
Yeah.
But Ms.
being
Anjum,
away.
Wonderful.
This is brilliant, mashallah, and to have that sort of compassion and actually, to make that work for the betterment of the country, I think that's amazing, inspirational, yes. But the fact that I love about all of this is the approach. So here's the thing, while a lot of people will collect donations, they will just pass it on as cash, which of course is useful for that particular month. You'll buy your grocery, you'll buy your new things, and then you're done with. But you are, again, I want you to shed more light on it. I'm just going to do the beginning. You are imparting education as well as skills to these people, which is for a lifetime. That's brilliant. So let us know about your institute that you have over here and what are you doing in that?
So in a nutshell, it is that you're not giving them the fish, you're teaching them how to fish, probably.
Of course, and that is very true. And my being over here and moving from America to Pakistan is my dedication and a commitment to the cause. So when I came over here, I was wondering what to do, where to start. I started and I founded an organization in America called Helping Hearts, Caring Souls.
Caring Souls,
Okay.
And I spoke with my donors over there, and I said, I want to do this. Will you help me? And unfortunately, with Allah's blessing, everybody, people said, yes, if you go there and work yourself, we will help you because we trust you.
Yeah.
And that is a blessing. And I feel like
course.
that I feel blessed and fortunate that people trust me with their money. And because it's very hard to earn money, no matter where you are.
course,
You know that. So anyways, when I came over here and I was looking for a project, and fortunately, I found this rehabilitation center where a lot of work was being done prior to 2005. This doctor Farat Rahman started it because there was a polio patient in her family and there was no rehabilitation services available at the time. So she decided to start rehabilitation services in Peshawar. So she started this center. She formed the organization called Association for Rehabilitation of the Physically Disabled, and she started working there. And she did tremendous job.
Okay.
So much work this lady did. I mean, I salute her and I admire her efforts.
Nice.
Unfortunately, in 2005, she died of cancer, and
Oh.
after 3 years, they had to close their door because they lost all the funds and all the passion she had for the cause and all. And then till 2016, it was closed, shut down. In 2016, when I came, I was looking for a project. Somebody introduced me to this project. I really liked the concept, even though I have no background in rehabilitation or disability, but just the fact that how much help I can give to these people and how much there's a need for
Yeah.
this sort of work. Because compared to America, I feel like this field is very much neglected in our country.
It is, to be honest, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even consider them as a part of this society.
Exactly.
And according to WHO, there's 15% disability in the world. So no matter, so if you exclude 15% people out of your
It's a huge number.
population,
Yeah,
that's a big.
that's a huge number as well, and we, as I mentioned right at the beginning of the show as well, that ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about it ever since World This Morning has existed. We've actually spoken about it as well. Imagine, and I think that Ms. Sanjum over here is right that we really make it look like as if they're not a part of our society. Imagine, just go to any building out there. Do you see that the infrastructure actually supports anybody on a wheelchair? Probably. Just start from here. The rest, I think, there's a longer way. It's a long journey, and we need to go over there.
Definitely.
And I'm glad that there are individuals like Ms. Sanjum and other people who've been on the show as well, who are contributing towards making sure that they make the society more inclusive, which is great. But for somebody who's been in US for the last 3.5 decades, moving back to Pakistan and picking up on a project which already did shut down, and not having any idea of what to do and what not to do, I think will be posed by a lot of challenges, and that to a woman in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, we do speak about women empowerment, and we do see some real-time examples. I think Ms. Anjum is one of them as well, and a lot of women need to take inspiration from her.
Definitely.
So what were the challenges posed to you when it was in an initial phase, talking about the Association for Rehabilitation of Physically Disabled?
Well, first of all, my being here and living here was a big challenging enough for me because everything is so systematic in America.
Yeah.
Of course, there's light everywhere. I mean, I've never heard of load shedding. What is load shedding? I've never heard of gas load shedding.
Yeah.
Never heard of, like, I remember one day there was some dharna going on, and I was like without internet for 3 days and without signals like cell
Yeah.
phone
Yeah.
signals, and I was like, excuse me, what is this? and my driver was on leave, and because I'm so much back and forth, I was in Islamabad alone, and I was alone for 3 days all
Yeah.
by myself, no driver, and no communication with the other
Yeah.
board. So I was like, what if something happens to me,
Oh.
because
Oh,
life
yeah.
is so secure. But these kind of challenges.
Yeah.
So first of all, getting used to the system, getting used to the people, because in America or in things are unmerit.
Okay.
There's so much meritocracy. Our Prime Minister even talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I realized over here is more like who you know,
Of course.
and how you know the people and who can do what for you.
Spot on.
Versus your merit.
You scratch
and-
my
and-
back, I'll scratch yours.
Yes. So, these are the challenges that I have to get used to. Plus, of course, I'm working in Peshawar, so I have to wear dupatta and chadar,
Yeah.
and which I was never used to.
All right.
And then, of course, you don't want to do things because when I was a little child when I left for America, and then I came. I would say call myself an old lady, and
mashallah.
now I feel like it's there's so much like you don't. I mean, there's so many things that I used to do that or say that I thought they were normal.
Yeah.
In America.
Right, and you must also have gotten, in fact, a sort of a reverse culture shock when you moved back, right?
Of course.
So, which is brilliant, Ms. Anjum, because you're mentioning all these challenges, and these are some of, while of course some of these are really big, but these are some of the tiniest things that you have to go through every single
Yeah.
day, and you have to have that spirit to actually go through it. So you're doing great. But now you let me know about, now coming back to, of course, the institution in Peshawar, is it?
Yes.
Right?
Of course.
So, is it only children with or people living with any sort of different ability that you are educating over there, or is it open for everyone to come and learn from?
Well, it's basically for persons with disability, and where we do physiotherapy. We start with physiotherapy,
Okay.
and we work on multiple disabilities. We are
Okay.
not just like focused on one specialty because there's so much need over there.
Yeah.
And then we teach them vocational skills, of course, because we just don't leave it to where we medically make them perfect and then they go on their own. What do they do after that? So we
Yeah.
teach them vocational skills. We make artificial limbs over there. We have our own orthopedic workshop, so we can make limbs for the people who have lost limbs. And due to terrorism and
course.
Yeah,
Afghan war,
obviously.
a lot of people have lost limbs in KPK. We do that, and of course, we can help anybody from Pakistan. We are not just focused on KPK. Anybody can come and get help from all over Pakistan. Then we do teach them vocational skills. Like I said, we have an inclusive school, primary school up to 5th grade, and of course, we started that last year. So as we progress, we are gonna, hopefully make it till
University.
metric.
I
or-
like the
Yeah.
idea of inclusive, and I actually want you to shed more light on that, because I'll tell you why. This is the age, you're talking about primary school, right? And
Yes.
this is the impressionable age where whatever you show, not even teach, whatever you show to the children, they will learn, they will pick, and
Exactly.
of course they will practice in the future. So Shahzad, imagine, I mean, in our schools, for our entire school time, college and university time, for people who had different needs, they were never a part of our classroom, right?
Exactly.
There must have been a different classroom, or there must have been a different school. So which is why it brings me immense pleasure that this is inclusive and everyone is sitting
Yeah.
together. So for a normal kid, I hate using this term, sorry if I'm using it wrong as well, for a kid with no special needs, if he's coming to school and if he sees someone on the wheelchair, like Shahzad said earlier as well, he's gonna learn this is normal. He's
Yeah.
gonna learn that he should expect such people even more in his life. This is amazing, amazing. I know I'm speaking a lot, but I want you to
And
speak
I
on
want
it
to pick up
further.
on this as well, because for all of these 70 years, where, in 1947 Pakistan was founded, nobody was intelligent enough to come up with this idea. And I think that what they couldn't get around was how the school will work or function.
Yeah.
So I think that this is something which we want you to shed light on, that, how do you make it work for people with special needs? Obviously, the teacher needs to go there in person. There's a larger classroom, there are a lot of children out there. So how do you cater to each and everybody's need?
Well, first of all, what we try to do is, like one thing you just said, that the teacher goes to them. We encourage them that they should feel like there's no disability with them. Mentally, they should be where they should be feeling like they can pretty much do anything
Yeah.
that you and I can do. So that is where the inclusive education
Brilliant.
concept is very, because so you mentally you make them, bring them to a point where they don't feel like there's something wrong with them. The special needs children.
Yes, of
And
course.
then the other children that are going to school with them, they have this empathy, and they just become friends.
Right.
And then, like you said, they don't feel like that there's something wrong with them.
Exactly, and in the future
thank
they-
you very much for saying empathy or using the word empathy. Thank God that you didn't say sympathy as well, because
lot of people do
this is not what other people need, ladies and gentlemen. If they're coming to this school and if they're differently able and if they have different needs, ladies and gentlemen, this pretty much shows that they are there to learn, they are there to
Exactly.
progress, and I like this mindset, and we're proud of you, to be very honest. But please go on.
So these children that are with special need, that are we are educating. Our goal ultimately is that instead of us going to them, they should feel empowered enough to come to us and seek help. Because obviously there is help available. They don't know how to seek help.
Okay.
They don't have confidence, of course, because they know that they're
Because
born
they've
with some
been-
sort of disability or have some sort. So they are not confident enough. So bring that real person in them and make them realize that there's nothing wrong with you. I mean, you may be on a wheelchair, but you probably are better than so many other people
Absolutely.
who are walking but they cannot perform. So this is the confidence that inclusive education, or our goal, is to give them.
And that's
Amazing,
wonderful as well.
amazing.
And ladies and gentlemen, going to school will obviously help. They will make new friends. They won't be in isolation, because, for all of those kids who stay back at home, parents leave for work, siblings are at school, and, imagine the kind of thought processes they might be going through. So I think that you will save that as well. And not just that. I think that there are one or two more things which I wanted to cover, and that is that your organization has been working for people who definitely lost a limb, due to terrorism or due to any other reason, and you reach out to them even if they cannot come to you. So let's talk about that. And when we talk about schools, it's not just studies; it's sports as well. And we see, all over the world, we have Paralympics as well, where people with different needs go and compete and win gold medals. So are we looking towards that as well, where all of those children are actually even playing together, not just studying, but playing together as well?
Of course, we do, and we even train adults for sports competition. And in fact, we have a lady. She is from FATA,
Okay.
from a very background and humble, backward areas and humble
Yes.
background. But she is living with us,
Okay.
and she is such an empowered lady. She goes to all these sports competitions nationally, and she wins gold medals. I think this is third or fourth year going on that
Mashallah,
she's been
that's
bringing gold
nice.
medal every year on powerlifting and table tennis.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
all these people, children and adults, of course, are taking part in different sports and winning medals and feeling good about it. So we do work on that. We train them and we facilitate them so they can get training, so they can compete. Then one other very unique program that we talked about earlier was that we, instead of them coming to us, we go to their doorsteps, we go to
Okay.
far-flung areas, and we do rehabilitation camp,
Wonderful.
which I think is very unique
It
service
is.
that our organization does. I
It
really
is.
don't know that anybody else does that.
Right.
We go to those areas where these services are not available, and we evaluate the patients, and then we refer them to Peshawar, and they can come and get treatment. And the people who cannot come to Peshawar, then we go ahead and evaluate them and kind of train their family members, so
That
they
is
can
brilliant.
get therapy and help at
I think
home.
there are only
That
two
is-
words which I would want to say over here, and that's Dera Manana. You're doing a great job, and thank you very much for being with us. It was
Very
lovely
quickly,
to have you.
Ms. Anjum, I want you to give out if there's a website or if there's an email, something that people can contact you for. What if they want to admit their children or their.
Or even give donations.
Yes, of course.
Sure, it's Anjum, my name ANJUM at hhcsonline.org.
HHCS
Online.
online.org.
ORG
Wonderful.
or arpdpark.com. They can
ARPDpark.com. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure if you're feeling or if you're willing to donate, or if you know somebody who can actually go to a school and you were looking for a school, ladies and gentlemen, we've shared it with you as well. But Ms.
Absolutely.
Anjum, we definitely want more people like you in our society and communities as well, because it's people like you who make our communities and societies more beautiful from the day which has actually passed. Thank you very much for being with us. It was
Keep
lovely
shining,
to be in
keep
conversation.
inspiring.
And
Thank
yes,
you for the
दुआएं
opportunity.
लें आप, माशाल्लाह आपको दुआएं मिल रही हैं. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time that we go for a short break. But when you guys will
Yes.
come back, we're talking about a very important issue, and that is, since we are experiencing the second wave of corona, a lot of people are psychologically disturbed. What
course.
should we do? What should we look forward to is something which we really need to talk about. We're going for a short break. Don't go.
Anywhere, please stay tuned. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Well This Morning, ladies and gentlemen, with the right now very energetic Shazad Khan and Shaza Hashmi.
Yes.
Well, today, of course, as usual, we're talking about something very inspiring. We actually did talk about in the first segment. But right now, we need to talk about something that has again engulfed our entire country, not only Pakistan, actually, the entire globe. We're talking about the pandemic that we've been going through since so many months now. And actually, something really funny happened, Shazad. Someone on Twitter actually made a entire, sort of an event of celebrating the first birthday of the coronavirus, because it's going to be almost a year in November. Can you believe that? I mean, we've been going through it so hard.
Yeah. And before we actually talk about it, ladies and gentlemen, happiness, sorrow, grief, all of these things are actually always hand in hand in life.
Yes.
And so there's this one happy moment, and I think there's one happy person out there as well. Obviously, a lot of people are happy, and we want them to be happy as well. But this gentleman is going to be happy because we're going to wish him birthday.
Oh,
so it
let's
happens
do
to
it.
be one of my friend's birthday today. His name is Bilal Khan. So Bilal, happy birthday. I'm going to sing you a song. Would you mind singing
Okay,
the song?
let's do
All right.
it.
So happy birthday to you. May you have many more. Happy Hajj Day, Bilal Khan. Stay blessed. And make sure for all of those people who's actually celebrating their birthday today, happy birthday to all of you. And now quickly coming back to what we wanted to discuss, the pandemic, the psychological impacts, without wasting a single moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the chairman of Psychology Department, IIUI. He is Professor Dr. Mazhar Iqbal Bhatti Saab. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Walaikum assalam, Shazad. How are you?
Bhatti Saab, I'm absolutely perfect, and I'm glad that you're over here in the studios with us, because I wanted to ask you a lot of questions, and that too about mental health.
Inshallah.
Now, even for myself, I'm sorry that I actually have to give my example out there every time, but it was hard for me to be in the room. First, when I was actually traveling back to Pakistan, 14 days, even though I didn't contract the virus, but I wanted everybody to be safe. And we didn't had a lot of knowledge about the COVID and how everybody's contracting it, so I was there. And then, when I actually got COVID, I was inside a room for 21 days. And it was a very difficult task. And
Must be so disturbing.
yeah, it was disturbing as well. I didn't know when it was day, when it was night, and I wanted to go hug my kids. You think about everything. And especially knowing that you've actually contracted a disease where there's no vaccine or medicine for it disturbs your mental peace.
It does.
How to go about it?
I think we all should take it responsibility, because it is more serious and complex phenomena.
Yeah.
We can easily say that this is the coronavirus, but when you go through by this, it is more difficult because it's especially from the psychological side. If we see, it would hamper the whole functioning of the individual, not only the individual, the whole family.
Absolutely.
Not only the family, the whole your family
Society.
relations, society, community, everybody is going to be disturbed by this pandemic. So I would like to suggest that we should take it seriously and follow the given SOPs.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we mostly ignore these things and then we face the lot of repercussions.
So,
Absolutely.
sir,
Professor, sir?
you telling us about, following all the SOPs is something which everybody knows now,
Yes.
everybody's
Yeah.
heard of.
Yeah.
We wanted opinion from somebody who happens to be a psychologist, and we want people to be mentally sound,
Yeah.
Right.
God forbid because the SOP is not going to help me if I'm not feeling mentally well
Yeah, that's
or
right.
mentally fit
Yes,
as well.
yes,
So to
yes.
keep our brains functioning very well.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll discuss with you.
Or just to, add to that, or probably even extend that as well. Where Shazad said it's so hard to actually spend some time in quarantine, and it's a fact. We all have done that, right? And I think as a society, not only actually here, everywhere, people were really so tired and disturbed of the quarantining and isolating situation that they just wanted it to be over with.
Yeah.
And because we were recovering so fast, so we did, sort of break the lockdown, but now we're back to it. So the mind is blown again because we have to go through that.
Yeah.
And it's science. It's science that humans do need sort of contact or,
Yeah.
socializing
We are
as
social
well.
beings.
People who actually live in societies or who actually socialize tend to live 23 years longer than people who are in isolation.
Yeah.
It is so natural. So with all these things in our mind, how can we actually look forward to a better day?
Yes, we should focus on the mental processes where we can see the thinking process. Perception is there, emotions are there.
Yeah.
Your all mental capabilities are involved, and you would like to share all your internal feelings with others. And you rightly say that we couldn't live alone. We have to interact, we have to perform our responsibilities, our duties as a professional, as an individual, as a doctor, as a professor, as academicians. So it should be focused on the cognitive functioning of the individual.
Okay.
If he is mentally peaceful or relaxed, he do his job very well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he is facing a lot of problem. Family is facing a lot of problem. Community is facing a lot of problem. So that's why I firstly mentioned follow the SOPs, because without following these things, you cannot combat with this.
Okay, that's fine. But Professor Saab, this is one thing. Having anxiety or sort of a depression in this particular pandemic going on, it's one thing for our own self. But what if one of your very close family members is actually going through this? And definitely, Shahzad, even you spoke about it, and I actually want you to speak about it again, how when you're isolated and at night, when you think about it, it gets to your head.
Yeah, it does.
And you're thinking all sorts of things. It's a panic situation, right?
It is.
So how can you help a family member come out of that bad mental phase?
Definitely, when you are in a quarantine,
Yeah.
you are isolated, and your feelings are not going to be shared with your family members.
Yeah.
And families itself in a permanent psychological crisis
Yeah.
or
Right.
stress. And someone is facing the sad feelings
Yeah.
internally. Sad feelings mean he is going to be a little bit depressed.
Okay.
So that's why we should focus on the mental alertness and mental relaxation.
And I have a very relatable story to it as well, because at one point of time, there were like 4 people, within our own house who actually had COVID. And so it was my mother obviously downstairs, it was our chef, who was looking after making all the meals, prepping.
Yes.
So imagine the stress was so much that after we've recovered, alhamdulillah, that's when my mother shared that she actually fainted one night, just thinking that her son and one of the nephews and so many people are ill, and God knows whether they're going to get well or not. So imagine that's the kind of stress everybody's sharing. So for all of those people in the first place who are in quarantine, please make sure that you don't think that nobody cares about you. Everybody cares about you, but it's a situation where you have to be alone by yourself so that other loved ones can actually be at ease, and so that they do not contact the virus, which is very important. And since you spoke about it, that there's added stress and it comes to you.
It does.
Imagine, it's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry that I've been speaking or saying it out loud as well, but we need to know that there's no vaccine. So the only vaccine which you really need to have within your own self is this motivation, which is going to help you as a vaccine, that you need to get better, you need to look after your family, and you need to be one of those responsible people who are going to fight with it, because a lot of people have done it. It's not only you who are actually on this bed or probably recovering or doing so. A lot of people have gone through it. If they can do it, you can do it too.
And we're in this together, so just do not ever feel that, you're being neglected, like Shahzad said.
Exactly.
Everyone cares about you. But Professor Saab, are there some mental exercises that you can probably let us know, or our audiences know about, that we can do? Because, it's a fact, like panic is going to happen in this situation, and it's only normal, it happens to everyone, but there must be some ways to get out of it immediately.
And once you lose control of your brain, I'm a kind of person who actually likes to be in control of himself. But once you start to lose control, there's no way that you get it back.
It's an
it just
abyss.
goes towards the other end, and all of a sudden, your hands are numb and you're getting palpitations, and you just cannot think of anything. How do we control that?
Yes, it is the internal phenomena of the individual, how he responds these types of feelings. It should be, I would like to suggest to make the deep breathing exercises.
Yeah.
He should maintain the meditation-like exercises. He should maintain the yoga-like, if he knows. If he knows.
Okay.
The condition is if he knows, if he used to. Otherwise, you have to create the motivation, internal motivation,
Right.
how you survive, how you face the situation, because definitely you are internally depressed, you are internally losing your confidence,
Yeah.
you are internally in a mental state of crisis.
Yeah.
So that's why I would like to suggest that every individual should make the lifestyle of quarantine and follow that in a routine matter.
Absolutely.
Then he can cope with this pandemic situation. Otherwise, there's a lot of thoughts that affect you, and you lose your confidence, you lose your all the control, or
That's
you lose
right.
your survival, even that.
Yeah.
Because most of the time we are facing a lot of problem, but family is emotionally, psychologically support you. But in this situation, individual is alone and he do by self all these type of
Exactly.
the exercise.
And you know, ladies and gentlemen, it is 100% tested by me that deep breathing does always help. You know, so every now and then I come across a situation where I'm like, you know, that this thought is not actually getting away from my head. That's what I do. I lie down. I mean, people do say that you actually have to sit, but what's the point if you're sitting because you won't fall asleep? I need to fall asleep so that I get rid of that thought. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
So what I do is that I just lie down, deep breathe, deep breaths, and you know, I just keep on doing that. So after like probably 15 or 16 breaths, I'm asleep. You know, I wake up an hour later.
I would like to add one
Sure.
thing.
Yes, please.
You should focus on the internal thought process
And recognize those thoughts.
and recognize the positive thoughts and give the proper time and work on positive side, not on the negative or irrelevant thought.
Exactly.
Right.
You should focus on the relevant thoughts, and relevant thoughts are positive thoughts. Positive thoughts give the life to hope, to survive,
And
to
that is
face, to courage,
Yeah.
to combat the situation.
And this is something we've learned the hard way as well, ladies and gentlemen. A few of my friends, unfortunately, they're not with us in this world now. So this is what I usually think. I used to think about as well, that we are, you know, so focused on what's going to happen tomorrow, and then we're planning things for the next year and the year after that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, in that race, we forget to live today. And I think everybody needs to do that. Focus on the day which is right in front of you. Focus on the examination paper which is right in front of your table or on your table, rather what's going to be on the table probably after a year. And I think
Absolutely.
that that's one of the best solutions I've ever come across.
To live in the moment,
Yeah.
absolutely, that's brilliant. But thank you so much for being here, Professor Saab. Thank you so much for always being available to, well, share your knowledge and information with us. Shazad, you know, when the pandemic earlier started, a lot of people were sort of, you know, resorting to something creative. Of course, as a medium of, I don't know how to say it, as a medium of letting their panic and anxiety out, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people were finding things that makes them feel happy. And throughout this, I think we spoke about this before as well, I didn't recognize my talent, or I did not find something productive. I think for me, it was sleeping. But now I realize I probably learned cooking. And that's and that's what I'm going to do when we're quarantined again.
That's your getaway thing.
It's my getaway thing now. Well, it does make me feel
I
fine.
think it's wonderful. For me, ladies and gentlemen, okay, I have to think about it. But for me, to get my getaway thing is just sit in my car, listen to some good music, and just cherish the moments I'm living right now. I think that it does work for me
It
as well.
does.
And since I'm a car enthusiast, I like vehicles a lot, and I kind of I'm into it. So even yesterday, this is something which I did. So it was little sunny. I wanted to get some vitamin D as well, because we did a show the other day as well. I just sat down in my car, turned up the music a little bit, and that's it. It was parked inside my porch. I didn't even move it. I felt relaxed, very relaxed.
But
as
that's
well.
nice. So ladies and gentlemen, I really think that you should probably look for something or find something that makes you feel good. It can be as little as, well, sitting in your car,
Yeah.
or as big as changing the entire world as well. So, well, look for what makes you feel good and feel light, and then impart or actually share that vibe and energy with everyone around you. Positivity is what we're looking for. And if there's anything you need to ask us, or if there's anything you need learn from us, do let us know through our Facebook page, which is with the name of
Well, this morning it's on your television screens very quick. Mr.
yes,
Producer, yes.
on Twitter.
On Twitter, it's World This Morning without G.
And the shows you can watch on YouTube.
World This Morning, ladies and gentlemen, you actually have to look for PTV World, and then the most viewed morning show, which is World This Morning, alhamdulillah.
Yes, and then the repeat of the show you can catch at
5 past midnight, ladies and gentlemen. Till the next time, look after yourselves, not just yourselves, for everybody who's around you as well. And if there's somebody who's not following the SOPs, remind them nicely.
or report them.
No, remind them nicely, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm going to say. And she's saying you have to report them as well. If you have said it to them that you really need to follow the SOPs nicely, and they don't do it, and if you have to say it the third time, then report them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning. Take care.